The Executor-class Superstar Destroyer was one of the largest and most powerful warships the Galactic Empire ever constructed, measuring an immense 19,000 meters in length and requiring a staggering 28,730 crew members to operate effectively. Designed by Lyra Wessex, the brilliant engineer behind the Imperial-class Star Destroyer, the Executor-class represented a dramatic leap in scale and capability. Adhering to Kuat Drive Yard's philosophy of terror styling, the belief that overwhelming size alone could psychologically devastate enemies before weapons were even fired. The most famous vessel of this class was the Executor itself, Darth Vader's personal flagship, which became iconic through its appearance in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Its dark gray and white hull contrasting sharply against the blackness of space, and often appearing with an eerie blue tint in certain lighting conditions. The Executor class featured firepower that dwarfed conventional Star Destroyers. Over 5,000 turbo-laser batteries, combined with missile launchers and ion cannons, providing it with roughly 100 times the destructive capability of a regular Imperial Star Destroyer. Its complement of starfighters was equally staggering. 144 TIE Series fighters, over 1,000 total support and combat craft, and extensive hangar bays capable of launching entire assault waves in coordinated strikes, making the Executor class a self-sufficient combat force that could devastate planetary defenses without requiring orbital support. However, the Executor class possessed critical vulnerabilities. Its ventral side and aft sections were relatively undefended, creating blind spots that smaller, more agile vessels could exploit if the ship's starfighter screen was depleted. This weakness was ultimately exploited at Endor when an A-wing crashed into the bridge, while Rebel starfighters overwhelmed its defensive positions, leading to the ship's catastrophic destruction as it fell into the Death Star's gravitational field. The Eclipse-class Superstar Destroyer was the Empire's final evolution in super-capital ship design, a vessel that attempted to combine the sheer size and firepower of the Executor class with the devastating super laser technology that had defined the Death Star program. Measuring 17,500 meters in length, the Eclipse class was slightly smaller than the Executor, but infinitely more devastating, mounting a fully operational super laser on its dorsal surface capable of destroying entire star systems, making it not just a warship, but a weapon of mass planetary destruction in itself. The Eclipse required a crew of 207,000 personnel to operate, the largest crew complement of any Imperial warship, with entire sections of the ship dedicated solely to powering and operating the super laser array. The power requirements were so demanding that the ship's standard propulsion could only be used at limited capacity while the super laser was charged, creating a fundamental strategic vulnerability where the vessel's mobility was severely compromised when its primary weapon was ready to fire. The super laser itself was a revolutionary improvement over the Death Star's original design, employing a more efficient focusing array that required less charging time, the ability to fire multiple times before requiring a full recharge, and demonstrated devastating accuracy in tests against asteroid fields and abandoned stations. However, the Eclipse class suffered from catastrophic limitations. The super laser consumed such enormous amounts of power that sustained conventional combat while maintaining super laser readiness was impossible, rendering the ship vulnerable to coordinated attacks from multiple smaller vessels that could overwhelm it before the super laser could be brought to bear. The Eclipse-class vessels were constructed in absolute secrecy in hidden Imperial shipyards, with only a handful ever completed before the Empire's collapse. The most famous, the Eclipse, was ultimately destroyed before it could unleash its super laser on the New Republic, making it a symbol of the Empire's ultimate failure, overwhelming power that could never be properly deployed. The Assertor-class Star Dreadnought was designed as the Empire's premier command and control vessel, a massive warship built to coordinate entire fleet operations across multiple star systems, while serving as a mobile headquarters for high-ranking Imperial commanders. At 15,000 meters in length, the Assertor was smaller than the Executor class, but compensated with specialized command facilities that included holographic battle planning chambers capable of displaying real-time tactical data from thousands of ships across entire sectors, advanced communication arrays that could maintain unbroken contact with Imperial forces even through jamming or hyperspace interference, and dedicated intelligence analysis, centers processing data from thousands of probe droids and spy networks simultaneously. The Assertor's armament was formidable but secondary to its command role. Its turbo-laser batteries provided defensive firepower, while its hangar bays carried over 120 starfighters including elite TIE interceptors and advanced bombers, creating a self-contained carrier group capable of independent operations without external support. What set the Assertor apart was its sensor arrays, long-range gravitic sensors that could detect cloaked vessels and hyperspace signatures light years away. Quantum entanglement communication systems allowing instantaneous orders across galactic distances, and predictive battle algorithms that could model potential engagements before they occurred. However, the Assertor's reliance on its command superstructure created critical vulnerabilities. If enemy forces could penetrate its starfighter screen and target the bridge or communication towers, the entire fleet it commanded could be thrown into disarray. This weakness was demonstrated when Assertor-class vessels serving as fleet flagships were systematically targeted by rebel hit-and-run tactics designed to decapitate Imperial command structures. Only a handful of Assertors were ever constructed due to their enormous cost at roughly 1.1 billion credits and the Empire's preference for more directly combat-oriented vessels, but they represented the pinnacle of Imperial fleet coordination technology, serving as the nerve center for some of the Empire's largest offensive operations. The Mandator 4-class siege dreadnought represented the apex of First-Order naval engineering and the most overwhelming offensive platform ever built, a ship so devastatingly powerful that even seasoned resistance commanders openly feared it. Manufactured by Kuat and Trala Engineering at a staggering cost of 350 billion credits per unit, the Mandator 4 measured 7,669 meters in length, making it roughly 2.5 times longer than a standard Resurgent-class Star Destroyer. The ship's most distinctive feature was its massive command bridge tower rising from the stern, bathed constantly in crimson light to aid targeting calculations, but its true horror lay in its armament. 2 colossal orbital autocannons capable of piercing planetary shields and obliterating ground targets with single devastating salvos. Beyond these apocalyptic weapons, the Dreadnought carried 26 dorsal point defense cannons, 6 tractor beam projectors, and enough internal volume to accommodate multiple Resurgent-class Star Destroyers for rapid deployment operations. The Fulminatrix, the most famous example, was commanded by Captain Moden Kennedy and tasked with destroying the Resistance base on Dakar, a mission it accomplished with horrifying efficiency, only to be destroyed by a desperate bomber run before it could obliterate the fleeing Resistance fleet. Even more chillingly, after the First Order's assault on Naboo failed, a second Mandator 4 was deployed to bombard the planet Tahnuhna into radioactive ash simply because its inhabitants had provided aid to the Resistance, demonstrating the Dreadnought's role not just as a tool of war, but as an instrument of genocidal terror. With a crew complement of 215,000 personnel and enough firepower to level planetary cities from orbit, the Mandator 4 class was the ultimate expression of the First Order's commitment to overwhelming force and technological dominance. The Secutor-class Star Destroyer was possibly the largest dedicated starfighter carrier in the Imperial Navy, a 2,200-meter behemoth designed to overwhelm enemy fleets through sheer numerical fighter superiority rather than direct capital ship combat. Unlike other dreadnoughts, the Secutor prioritized massive fighter complements with capacity for 144 starfighters, plus numerous shuttles and landing craft, supported by sophisticated flight deck operations systems capable of deploying entire fighter wings in coordinated waves. Its armament, while substantial, was lighter than comparable dreadnoughts, featuring 15 heavy turbolaser batteries, 15 light turbolasers, 10 battleship ion cannon turrets, 5 battleship ion cannon batteries, and 16 medium ion cannons, designed primarily to defend the carrier while its starfighter swarms did the heavy lifting. The Secutor also carried extensive ground complement, including AT-series walkers and assault vehicles, allowing it to support major planetary invasion operations from orbit, while simultaneously maintaining starfighter operations. Despite its cost of 200 million credits, the Secutor excelled in its carrier role, allowing the Empire to project overwhelming fighter power across multiple star systems while maintaining the command infrastructure to coordinate complex fleet operations. Its 40,000-strong crew could sustain operations for years without resupply, making it ideal for frontier deployments where logistical support was limited. The Bellator-class Star Dreadnought was engineered as the Empire's ultimate dual-fighter capital ship, a 1,600-meter battleship Designed specifically for sustained point-blank exchanges with enemy capital ships where overwhelming firepower and armor determined victory. Its primary armament was staggering: 30 heavy turbo-laser batteries, 30 medium turbo-lasers, 20 light turbo-lasers, 10 heavy ion cannons, and 40 medium ion cannons arranged in devastating broadside configurations that could shred enemy vessels in coordinated salvos. The Bellator featured reinforced frontal armor nearly impenetrable to standard turbo-laser fire, ramming prows designed to physically smash through enemy hulls, and internal bulkheads engineered to contain catastrophic damage and keep the ship fighting even after absorbing hits that would destroy lesser vessels. Its reactor output was massive, providing continuous high-power operation during extended combat without performance degradation, allowing the Bellator to maintain overwhelming firepower output indefinitely. The ship carried 72 starfighters primarily for close defense and local air superiority, focusing resources on capital ship combat rather than supporting distant strike operations. However, the Bellator's focus on battleship combat created tactical limitations. Its slow maneuverability made it vulnerable to flanking attacks from fast-moving squadrons, and its positioning-dependent firepower meant that skilled enemy tacticians could negate its advantages through superior positioning and coordination. Bellator-class vessels led the Empire's most brutal fleet engagements, systematically annihilating rebel naval formations through overwhelming firepower and relentless pressure, while faster ships exploited the chaos they created. The Kaz-class Superstar destroyer served as the Empire's workhorse supercapital ship, a 1,400-meter standardized production model representing the most cost-effective way to field a true dreadnought-scale vessel while maintaining reasonable construction timelines and logistics. Designed as a direct evolution of the Imperial-class Star Destroyer, the Kaz class featured enhanced reactor output supporting 25 heavy turbolaser batteries, 25 medium turbolasers, 15 light turbolasers, and 10 ion cannon turrets, creating a balanced weapon suite capable of handling fleet engagements, planetary assaults, and independent operations without specialized limitations. Its hangar bays accommodated 72 starfighters primarily configured as multi-role craft, giving the Kaz flexibility to adapt to different mission profiles from carrier operations to planetary support without requiring external air support. The ship's command facilities supported sector-level fleet operations with advanced sensor networks, battle coordination computers, and communication arrays maintaining contact with hundreds of subordinate vessels simultaneously across multiple battlefronts. However, standardization created vulnerabilities. Lacking the specialized strengths of siege platforms or carrier variants, Quaz-class vessels struggled against purpose-built opponents in their respective domains, and their predictable design patterns made them easier targets for rebel intelligence operations and strategic planning. Quaz-class superstar destroyers formed the backbone of Imperial battle fleets during the Galactic Civil War, providing reliable firepower and operational flexibility across countless engagements while serving as mobile bases for sector commands and high-ranking Imperial officers throughout the Empire's final years. The Praetor II-class Star Dreadnought represented the Empire's pinnacle of stealth and electronic warfare, a 1,400-meter colossus engineered to dominate battlefields through information control and sensor denial rather than direct firepower. Its primary armament consisted of 20 heavy turbo-laser batteries and 20 medium turbo-lasers, optimized for precision strikes rather than sustained broadside combat, complemented by extensive electronic warfare suites capable of jamming enemy sensors across entire sectors and degrading targeting systems at extreme ranges. The Praetor II featured advanced stealth technologies including radar-absorbent hull coatings, thermal signature suppression systems that reduced heat emissions to near undetectable levels, and gravitic distortion fields that created sensor shadows around the vessel, allowing it to operate near enemy fleets virtually invisible to standard detection arrays. Massive hangar bays carried 144 stealth-optimized TIE Phantoms and Shadow Bombers equipped with cloaking technology, allowing the Praetor II to deploy strike forces that could infiltrate enemy formations undetected and launch devastating surprise attacks before vanishing back into stealth. Its onboard cyber warfare facilities incorporated cutting-edge slicing technology capable of infiltrating enemy command networks, disabling targeting systems, and turning opposing fleets against themselves through hacked sensor data and false orders injected directly into enemy communications. However, stealth specialization created combat limitations. Its lighter armament struggled in direct fleet engagements against equally massive opponents, and prolonged cloaking operations drained reactor power, forcing the ship to decloak at critical moments when enemy jamming overwhelmed its stealth systems. Praetor II-class vessels orchestrated some of the Empire's most devastating ambushes, appearing suddenly from sensor shadows to cripple rebel fleets before vanishing into stealth, serving as the unseen hand guiding Imperial naval supremacy through the fog of electronic warfare and deception. But why did Star Destroyers cost more than entire planets?